Welcome to Pick Your Poison, where I serve you 3 or 4 gut-punching, blood-soaked stories, guaranteed to fuck with your sleep. But here's the fun part. Every single one ends with a cliffhanger. And guess what? It's up to you to decide which story I drag back, screaming to be unleashed in full. Because your vote seals their fate. Let's dig in.
They told me the jungle would be the hardest part. The heat, the bugs, the constant stench of rot. They forgot to mention the part where your teammate starts laughing while sawing his own arm off. You never forget the first time you smell burning flesh. It's a sickly sweet aroma that sticks to your nostrils like molasses. I didn't know why Kyle, Big fucking Kyle as we called him, was using the flamethrower on his own goddamn leg. He didn't have a wound. Hell, we hadn't even seen the enemy yet. "Kyle, what the fuck are you doing?" I yelled, stepping back as the flames licked dangerously close to the dry jungle underbrush. He turned to me, grinning like he just won the lottery. "They're in me, man. Gotta burn them out." The worst part? His eyes weren't wild. They were calm. Too calm. This wasn't your standard mission. The brass had sent us in to extract intel from a rogue scientist. Typical black site bullshit. But the deeper we trekked into the jungle, the weirder things got. Food tasted wrong, like chewing on aluminum. The buzzing of insects turned into ear-piercing high whines. By the 3rd day, I could have sworn the trees were breathing. Kyle wasn't the first to snap either. We lost Perez on day 2. One minute he was there, the next he was gone. Just his boots left behind, standing neatly side by side in the mud. No footprints, no drag marks, nothing to track. Now it was Kyle's turn. "You need to put that flamethrower down, bro," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. My hands hovered near my rifle. My finger itched to pull the trigger. "You'll see," Kyle said, his voice dripping with certainty. "They're already in you too." And that's when the laughing started. Low at first, barely there, and in the next instant, impossibly loud. It came from everywhere and nowhere. The jungle itself seemed to convulse with it. No, not it. Kyle. It was coming from his mouth. I panicked. I admit it. I put a bullet between Kyle's eyes before I even realized I'd raised my rifle. The laughing stopped. For a moment, everything was still. Then the trees started bleeding.
The first rule of underwater ops: don't look into the dark too long. It's not just the pressure that gets you. It's the abyss. I'd always thought drowning would be peaceful, like falling asleep. Turns out, it's more like getting stabbed in the goddamned lungs with red-hot needles over and over again. We were 300 feet down, the ocean swallowing us whole. Nothing but us, our line and the murky inkiness going on into infinity all around us. Command had sent us to investigate a submerged city, a real-life Atlantis knockoff. We were told it was covert and may house advanced tech for its time. Our orders were to observe and report, but they didn't mention the bodies. We found the first one on day 1, drifting in the current like some grotesque offering from the abyss. Its face wasn't just wrong, it was a goddamn nightmare of madness. It looked as though its teeth imploded, with shards stabbing through the cheeks like broken glass, and its eyes, polished obsidian pits that seemed to devour the faint light coming from our gear. But it was the second body that sealed our fates. It floated in the murk, suspended like a puppet on invisible strings. Its limbs twitched, a grotesque dance that sent ripples through the water. Bowers saw it first. "It's moving," his voice low over the comms. I tightened my grip on the harpoon gun. "You're seeing shit," I said, but the ass sauce I felt brewing told me otherwise. Then, with a jerky twist, the thing turned its head toward us, the water around it swirling like ink in a glass. And that's when it smiled. The teeth. God, the teeth. There were too many. sharp and wicked, as if it had the head of an anglerfish sticking out of its mouth. It wasn't dead, not even close.
There's a reason they quarantined the city. Too bad no one told us what it was. The stench hit us before we even crossed the perimeter. Rot, piss, and burnt hair. The city was dead, or so they said. Evacuated was the official term, but we all knew better. Our objective was simple: find and extract Dr. Eli Grant, the CDC's golden boy. He'd gone dark after reporting anomalies in the quarantine zone. Command wanted him back, alive. Movement 10 o'clock, Perkins said, raising his rifle. I turned just in time to see a figure lurching out of the shadows. At first I thought it was a survivor, which tells you how brain-fucked I got. It wasn't a survivor, not exactly. I mean, she was definitely there, coughing and moaning in pain. After my brain unfucked itself, there was no mistaking why. The woman was alive, if you can call it that. She was split in two. It was as if someone tore her torso like a packet of M&Ms. The first half of her just hung there, still attached to the side of her own body. Her long hair painting the pavement with blood and gore as her legs walked forward. Then my eyes went to the mass of black sprouting out of her midsection and wearing her legs like a comfy pair of jeans. "Open fire!" I shouted. The thing didn't go down easy. Bullets shredded its torso, but it kept coming, jerking the woman's body forward like a demented sock puppet. And that's when we heard them. Hundreds of footsteps echoing through the empty streets. We weren't alone, and whatever was with us wasn't human. At least not anymore.
Siberia isn't just cold. It's the kind of place that can make every bone in your body scream to leave. But orders are orders. And when the brass says, investigate, you don't ask why. You just get your sweet ass to where you're pointed. We were dropped into a wasteland of white. Nothing but snow and trees for miles. Except for the research station, which stood quiet. No lights, no sound. Just a low, almost imperceptible hum that felt more like a vibration in your skull than something your ears could hear. "Why is it so damn dark, Cap?" Cruz asked, pulling his scarf tighter around his face. His breath puffed in thick clouds in the freezing air. "It's Siberia," I replied, shouldering my rifle. "Take your pick. Power failure, an idiot forgot to change a light bulb, or someone cut the lights on purpose." We breached the main building and were hit with an overwhelming stench, the kind that made your eyes water. And I knew we'd be seeing some bad shit soon. Frost clung to the walls, glittering under the beam of our flashlights. It was colder inside than out. The first body was hanging in the mess hall, its head tilted, looking down at us as if disappointed we were late to the party. But it wasn't looking. It had no eyes. I tried to take in the whole picture and realized blood covered every surface. "Jesus Christ," Morales muttered, stepping back, his boot catching on something. At first, I thought it was a tablecloth that must have been knocked on the floor in whatever chaos happened here. He shook his boot, trying to get it off. Shreds littered the floor like streamers. At the same time, I had the horrible realization that we were stepping on the peeled-off skins of people. Cruz said, "Holy shit," staring at the body. "It has no..." He stopped short, his words catching as his flashlight caught movement. Something scuttled in the corner of the room, too fast to track, but loud enough to make us all whip around. It wasn't a rat. It was too big. That's when the shadows started moving. Well, there you have it. A few stories to ruin your week. Now it's on you to decide which one crawls out of the shadows for round 2. Leave your vote in the comments, and the winning story will turn into a full, detailed nightmare it deserves. And remember, while you're busy holding your breath, I'll be over here writing more reasons for you to lose it. Sleep tight. Until next time.